Welcome back to my Final Fantasy XIV drama series. Today's drama story is about the side guy. If you enjoy these kinds of videos, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. I've been playing Final Fantasy XIV for about 6 years now. I've met lots of different people, some good, others bad. Like everyone else, I've had fun times on 14 and I've had bad times experiencing things that I thought I would never deal with in a video game. I feel like my adventure through 14 can be its own book, but for now, I'm going to share with you a tale of how I had to deal with one of the most stressed out situations I've had to deal with on this game. It all starts in a free company called Phoenix Tale, a place me and 3 former friends of mine created. It was the first time ever that I was part of an FC built from scratch. It was a small FC, but it was one that was running well. We had some fun times doing typical FC things like doing X-Trials, maps, FC events, but that doesn't mean everything was perfect. So let me introduce to you some of the key characters of the story. First, we have Nyx. She was my best friend. We knew each other from the Final Fantasy XIV Instagram community. Yes, that's a thing. And a good place for all people who love G-poses. Later, we found out we were on the same server. We've been friends ever since, and we did plenty of things together in-game. We were alike in a lot of ways, and our auras were the same. The only difference was the color of our scales. We shared stories, helped each other through problems, watched anime, and I introduced other games to her. It wasn't always peaceful. We had our moments when we argued, and whenever we did argue, it was kinda a lot since we are both pretty stubborn. But we always end up cooling off and mending things later. Nyx told me how she came from WoW and how toxic it was over there. It wasn't the first time I heard that, but I never played WoW, so I wouldn't know personally. She started Final Fantasy XIV a long time ago because of her ex, but then she decided to come back later. She's been through a lot, and so have I, when we met, so we helped cheer each other up. Sadly, our good times wouldn't last. The next person I'm going to introduce to you in the story is Val. Val is Nyx's boyfriend, and he's such a simp, he deserves his own story. Val is the jealous type. He's very clingy, and whenever we are in a group, he will always flirt to Nyx and say things that would make you cringe, like some things a grown man wouldn't normally say, or shouldn't say for that matter. Just remembering it makes me want to throw up. It was like he always had to make sure everyone knew that he was the boyfriend. Like, dude, we get it. You don't need to remind us every day that you're the boyfriend. He tries hard to make himself seem cool and edgy, like he's your typical male aura, and guess what his main job is? You guessed it, a Dark Knight. What a surprise. He is a damn marshmallow IRL. Aww, marshmallow. Probably has chubby cheeks. I'm never gonna forget the time I was sitting in Discord listening to him rage about Final Fantasy VII Remake, but he played the whole thing on easy mode. He was he was like that with other games too. Nyx told me they met in WoW, and they are in a long-distance relationship, and for a long time, it was only them hanging with each other. Well, that changed when they started Final Fantasy XIV. Nyx has made so many new friends in Final Fantasy XIV. Val only knows everyone through her. The thing is, he doesn't try to make friends. He doesn't even seem to care about the game. The only reason why Val is around is because of Nyx. He always wants her attention and would get upset if she is hanging out with anyone else. He would do things like try to bring out the wedding chocobo if he sees Nyx is riding a mount with anyone else. That's funny. He gets jealous because the rest of us have more experience about Final Fantasy XIV than him. Nyx always wanted to learn more and hang out with us and didn't always want to focus on Val. I found it funny that Val acted more like the girl in the relationship than Nyx did. I would tease Nyx about it sometimes. Nyx told me she didn't like how Val is always so mushy whenever we are with friends. She didn't want people to feel awkward to be hanging out with a couple at all. The one person Val was jealous of the most was me. And my gosh, what a pain in the ass that was. And then we have our friend Sam. Sam at the beginning seemed like a nice guy. This guy, whenever he talked, I was never sure if he was actually being himself or putting on an act. When I first met Sam, he was in his own drama with his girlfriend, and according to her, he did some questionable things, and no one would believe him. I didn't know him that well, or the people he used to be involved with though. He was mostly Nick's and Val's friend. Sam would later be part of the FC with us and contribute a lot in helping players along with me. Nick seemed to trust him and thought his past issues weren't his fault. I kept my eyes on him though, and I knew he was into RPing, and in my opinion, I don't like RPing since I have met my fair share of players who caused a lot of drama with RPing, and I prefer to just stay away. I personally haven't met one decent player from RPing side of Final Fantasy XIV. When you've played Final Fantasy XIV as long as I have, you begin to see through all the bullshit people can say sometimes. Now that all the players are here, let's get the show on the road. So as I said before, the FC had some issues. Some of these issues are how the FC is handled. Nyx and Val were the FC leaders. Me and Sam were the officers. Normally things will come down to a vote, and sometimes there will be disagreements. And the fact that Val is always agreeing with whatever Nyx says, not because he actually thinks she's right, he's just an agreeable Andy because Nyx is his girlfriend. That's how it's always been with him, though he copies whatever Nyx does. He just doesn't really think for himself and isn't in control. It's always Nyx who is in control. Dude, I actually don't like it when I have friends who just agree with me. I definitely want people's actual legit opinion. If I know that they're just a friend that always agrees with me, I'm like, I say straight up, don't just agree with me. Please let me know if this is a bad thing. Nyx and Val would fight sometimes in Discord, other times in private, mostly because Val wasn't pulling his weight as an FC leader. Since the beginning, I never liked that Nyx chose Val to be the leader alongside of her, honestly. Val just didn't seem like a leader type of person, and always hid behind Nyx. He also lacked game experience, which the rest of us had. It always felt like it was Sam, Nyx, and I deciding on the big decisions for the FC, and Val was kind of just there. The only thing Val did was make someone who was in the FC an officer by the name of Winter. It was because he thought she was helpful. In my opinion, though, Winter wasn't helpful. She hasn't done anything in the FC, nor does she really talk to anyone and mingle or even come to the FC events. Winter just comes online, takes modded pics, and the only reason why Val wanted her as an officer was because she kept kissing up to Val about how cute Val and Nyx were as a couple. Nyx just told me to let it go and give Val this one. Later down the road, there were some issues. Nyx got mad because Val wouldn't go with us to do some Savage raiding. We were doing other raids like Kefka and Omega for the glam mounts. Val was being a baby about it and giving it excuse after excuse on why he didn't want to go, to the point where I said, "You're bitching about something that isn't even hard anymore. I did this back when you couldn't even do it unsynced, and it wasn't even that hard back then." Nyx told him it was only fair because everyone helped Val to get his bird mounts, so he should help us do other things sometimes. Val was really starting to piss me off, but not only in the game, but out of the game too. Remember how I mentioned he was jealous of me? Well, it got to a point where if me and Nyx wanted to do something, just two of us, we had to go into a private call and speak. You see, Val would always jump into Discord voice if he saw me and Nyx in the voice call together. Oh, it just seemed like he just wanted to hang out with his girlfriend in the voice call. We would be watching anime or a movie we were looking forward to. Val was not into anime, so he had no clue what we were talking about. Then he would get on Final Fantasy and pretend to be doing something so he could stay on call and listen. He would constantly talk while we were trying to watch the show, and it got annoying because we couldn't focus. I went to bed later, and Nyx apologized and said she will talk to him. Is it weird for a guy and a girl to watch shows together when one of them is taken? That's like a different discussion altogether. Let's see what chat says about that later. Val eventually started to give me weird vibes in game where it felt like he just didn't trust me to be alone with Nyx. He started to copy me in whatever job I was maining. I decided to tell Nyx that I think Val is jealous of me. Later, Nyx confronted Val about it, and Val admitted to be indeed jealous. He then wrote me this very long apology, and I didn't even know what to say. Oh, so Val apologized to the OP. Nyx and I had talked one night and no one was around, so we just got to vent on how things were lately. She told me I shouldn't be mad at Val since Val is my friend. I told Nyx, Val has never been my friend. I just put up with him because Val is your boyfriend. I told Nyx she should count herself lucky because I probably would have told him off a long time ago with things he did that annoyed me otherwise. She tried to tell me that Val's been driving her crazy lately too, and that things haven't been going so well for them. During that night, we stayed up super late, and it was the last time we ever vented to each other. Things only got worse. Nyx was supposed to go on vacation to see Val. They were in a long-distance relationship, but she couldn't go because of COVID, and they weren't letting people travel at the time. She was furious. I remember how angry Nyx was at first. She didn't want to talk to anyone. Whenever I tried to cheer her up, she would just want to stay in this mood like she was being distant. Sometimes I left her alone. Other times I tried to talk only to end up in a fight with her. Now these fights were different, worse than any argument we had before. Both of us are at our boiling point, and we both say things that hurt each other. You know how it is when you're angry at someone. You say things you don't mean. You aren't really thinking, you're just reacting out of emotions at the time. I never understood why she was giving me a hard time for when I was just trying to be a friend and comforting her. It wasn't my fault she couldn't go on her trip, and it's not like it was the end of the world. Whenever I tried to be reasonable, she didn't want to hear it. She also put words into my mouth and acted like I was being mean to her, making it seem like I was a bad friend. This only made me more angry because out of everyone, I was the one who was always there for her. Not only that, I put up with always listening to her and Val's stupid drama. We then stopped talking and we began ignoring each other in the FC. I felt terrible. I couldn't focus on anything else. This whole thing was dumb. I've taken a lot of things from Nyx, but this time it was not okay. I'm her friend, not her damn punching bag. I did so much for her and the FC, and all I wanted was to be respected. Like a friend of mine IRL said, women always think they're right. It doesn't matter if they're right or wrong, they're always right. Okay, hold up here. When you're fighting with someone, both sides think they're both right. It doesn't matter whether they're a girl or a boy. That's why there's an argument. They won't back down. Thinking about how I felt back then, it hurt like she truly didn't care. I started to question myself. What was everything I did for? I was not in the mood for more problems, but then here comes Val wanting to start a fight with me too. I was not about to take anything from him, so he said what he wanted to say, and after that I told him what I wanted to say since day one. That he was a worthless excuse for a man, 28 years old, who can't take care of himself, can't drive, fake as fuck. The fact that he even managed to get a girl to like him shocks me, and yet he comes to me to start a fight, calling me terrible. Well, there must be something right about me. Since the day we met, he's been nothing but jealous of me and drives his girl so crazy. She would come crying to me and telling about how smothering he is. And if this wasn't in a game, he wouldn't even be chatting because he would be seeing Mughals tanking the freaking floor like he always is. Oh, people are doing sad faces in chat. After I said that, he had nothing to say to me. He was speechless, and we stopped talking. I mean, I'd be freaking shocked as Val, like, whoa, coming at me about life stuff. I think it just sounds like Nyx told the OP a lot about Val. But which is kind of sad because that's Nyx's perspective. Like whenever like Nyx vents to the OP about Val, like obviously that's her side and it's never Val's side. I guess that also affects like how it makes him not like Val even more. Cough, cough. Sorry about that. Listen, there's only so much a person can take, and this Val guy had it coming for a very long time. Anyway, I blocked him and Nyx from Discord. I didn't want to hear any more bullshit from them. This was ridiculous, and I wasn't gonna stay in a place where I'm gonna be treated like this, so I made the choice to leave. So I packed up everything that was mine in my FC house and left. Nyx said that I was leaving in the officer channel. Sam tried to talk to me. He didn't want me to leave because he said, besides him, I put in a lot of work in the FC. I told him I wasn't going to stay in this place if Nyx and Val are going to treat me like that. But he still wanted everyone to be together. I told Sam, fine, I'll do it if they agree to. But Sam showed to me that he was playing both sides to save his own skin. First, he told Nyx that it was my idea to have this conversation. And then when she began talking, instead of sticking up for me like he did earlier, he kissed up to Nyx as well. It would be like that for the other members of the FC. Later, I hung out with my friend Libby and Darcis and told them of the situation. But then Nyx and Val, who are mutual friends of theirs, also talked to them. Darcis tried to get me and Nyx to talk. Nyx didn't want to voice call, only through DM, and she wanted Val to be there. I said no, that she's not going to use Val as a shield. She wasn't afraid to do all that talking before. She shouldn't be acting like a coward now. This didn't go well. Nyx basically started to fight. She was the only one who lost her cool because she didn't want to be confronted with what she did. Later on, she and Val started to hang in Darcis and Libby's Discord a lot more often. Nyx didn't like me being friends with anyone she was friends with. She never cared about being in this Discord before, and all of a sudden, they're here. Darcis would talk to me, saying how he talked to Nyx and trying to talk to me. But I was beginning to be annoyed because he made it seem like I was the one in the wrong. I knew exactly what was going on and I wasn't stupid. Everyone can act nice and say nice things and say they won't take sides. But the thing is, they already did choose sides. The next day, Darcis messaged me these rules, telling me I can't be in voice call if Nyx and Val were there. And Libby went along with whatever Darcis chose to do. I left the Discord because to hell with that. They want to stick up for people like that? Fine. Oh my god, it feels like the OP is going into this downward spiral. I unfriended everyone from the FC, and I unfriended my friends, Darcis and Libby too. I didn't want to be associated with anyone who wanted to call Nyx and Val their friend because I couldn't trust them. It was like this. I left the FC quietly. I didn't make any grand announcement or anything or cause the scene. I just left because I had enough of how I was being treated. Nyx, however, decided to make a scene and tell the whole FC her version of what happened. Some people believed her, some didn't. Some came to hear my version. But in the end, it all didn't matter. I wasn't in the FC anymore and I didn't want to come back. Plus, it's not like anyone tried to defend me or anything. They all pretty much let Nyx and Val do whatever they want or went along with them. You see that in Final Fantasy XIV. 1. People would only hear one side of the story and assume that it's 100% truth without getting all the facts. 2. Sometimes it doesn't matter if they hear the whole truth because they're buddies with the person that caused the drama in the first place. They would turn a blind eye and protect their friend. 3. Some don't want to get in trouble themselves and go to the side they think is winning. All pathetic. I didn't care anymore. I wasn't planning on being friends with any of them, but the problem wouldn't end there, sadly. Nyx would not leave me be for a long time and would try to make me look bad on social media. Not only that, Val and Winter would join in and try make them look like this happy family FC. I wasn't playing Final Fantasy XIV for a while. I did ignore everything they were doing. I just couldn't find joy in the game. I guess you are wondering why not move. Well, I didn't really want to. I was finally able to get the house I wanted. If I moved, then I would lose the house. I tried to log on a few times, but the FC would stalk me in game. I even tried to report them, but that never did anything. I had friends messaging me asking if I was okay or if what Nyx said was true, and I just didn't respond. I wonder what Nyx said. Like, what is the side of theirs? What did Nyx say that was true or what? The OP didn't state. I felt drained, angry, sad, and disappointed. Someone who was once my best friend, someone who told me many things, who I helped with her problems, was the one doing all this drama. Her boyfriend adding fuel to the fire, and people who knew them and are aware of what they were doing just tagged along or did nothing. This opened my eyes though. This clearly showed me who my real friends are and who wasn't. I made a new IRL friend, Sarah, and she also played Final Fantasy XIV as a solo player. She had friends, she just never joined the FC. She asked if I played and I told her my situation. She then told me that she understood why I wasn't playing, but why I didn't say anything about Nyx and the others. I told her I thought about it when I was angry, but then, I don't know, it just really bums me out that my friend would rather choose this path than just make things right in a peaceful way. Sarah then talked me into logging in with her later that night. We just traveled around goofing off in Discord. Our two characters were sitting in Limsa listening to these bards play their music. That's when Nyx and the FC noticed me. Nyx, as usual, runs away thinking I was gonna fight her. Coward. Sam has the nerve to wave at me, but I didn't wave back. I wanted to leave, so me and Sarah walked somewhere else. Then she told me one of them sent her a towel telling her that she should stay away from me. Sarah had to go to bed. She said goodnight and told me she was happy I decided to come back into Final Fantasy XIV that night. I walked back to the spot we were at and saw Sam still there. This is when I stopped it all. This is a long drama. I confronted Sam and I told him, I have a message for Nyx, Val, and whoever is joining them to stop. That if they choose to continue with their bullshit, that I was gonna show up at their FC and deal with them myself. And even if they tried to report me, it wouldn't work. I explained to Sam that during all this, I did have proof of what Nyx and Val did. Not just them, but what others said and did, including him. Things they said in game, things they said in Discord. I had it all. Then I told him for a long time it was me and me alone who had to deal with all this shit. All the rumors, all the gossip, all the messages, all because of your two FC leaders. It wasn't just them, but the rest of the members too. Some knew and some did nothing. Some lied. Others did what they could to protect them, to make sure they didn't get into trouble. No one told anyone to stop, that they took things too far. Sam tried to say some dumb excuse to me, but I wasn't taking it anymore. I trusted Nyx. All this didn't have to go down this way, but it did. I know what everyone did, and I had the proof. I said to Sam, can he really stand there and try to defend them after what has happened? I wasn't the one who started this, but I damn sure will be the one to end it. I left after that. The next day, I made a post about the events that have happened, told my side of the story, and had my evidence to back up what I said. I also stated that I didn't care who believed me or not. I just wanted this whole thing over. Like that, it was all over and things were dead quiet for a long time. My thoughts exactly. I think it's getting like way too much. It's like crazy side already, almost. It's been such a long time since those events took place, and that FC hasn't changed at all. Ever since I left, new members have joined, but a lot of them did end up leaving, and some saying that they couldn't deal with Nyx and Val's behavior in the FC, and that it's mostly dead these days. Sam and Winter are still both there and still kissing up to Nyx and Val. As for those two, I was told they broke up. Guess Nyx finally couldn't take Val's bullshit anymore, yet they're both still in the FC. After all that drama too. Shake my head. None of these people ever bothered me anymore. Nyx got rid of her social for her character, guessing because she didn't want to deal with the community. She does some art commissions things now. Val, I don't know what he's doing without Nyx, so he has no reason to be around. Well, whatever, I suppose. Whatever happens in that place is no longer my problem. It's kind of sad in a way how it all ended. Sarah asked me once, was there ever a time I missed being in the FC? Not really. I will admit I had fun times with me and Nyx when me and Nyx were friends, but that's about it. I left that place because I was sick of the drama. Why would I want to go back? Besides, what happened showed me everyone's true colors, and none of them saw fit to give any kind of apology for their part in it. Over time, I saw just how it is on 14. Even when the person is caught red-handed, that they're in the wrong, or that they made a mistake, big or small, they will never own up to what they did or admit they were wrong. They would rather end a friendship rather than apologize, even if that friendship lasted for a long time. Guess the friendship was probably not that important to them in that case. As for me, I've been doing great. I have been having a fun time on the game again, and me and Sarah have gotten close. In fact, we are married in the game. She is totally one of the big reasons why I've been so happy lately. Now you're probably thinking, this story sounds crazy. Lol, I wouldn't blame you. But as the person who all these things did happen to during that time and it sucked, I totally felt like I was 100% done on this game back then. I don't join any FCs anymore. Most of the time I'm an adventurer who does their own thing and will hang out with their friends. I'm not gonna say it's all bad. There are some good people out there who play the game, of course, but I've seen the toxic side of this game, which is really ridiculous. People do some really horrible things to one another on here. If you're someone who honestly never had experienced any kind of drama yet on Final Fantasy XIV, God bless you, and I hope your luck continues. I have advice for you to all be careful about who you talk to in-game or IRL anywhere. If there are any red flags, it's best to probably move on and avoid these people. You don't need pointless drama, especially in the game, right? Your feelings, your well-being, they're important to do what's best for you. Don't be afraid to stand up for yourself. Well, that's the end of the story. I got plenty more if you guys want to listen. But till then, see you around Eorzea. That one was a very long story. I don't see it as there's just like one person wrong in this story. I just think it's a series of unfortunate events. There's like a lot of little wrongs here and there. You get like the friendship relationship drama in MMORPGs, but in other games it's just more like salty, toxic, like fuck you for winning, you suck as a player. Like that's the only drama you get in other games. That's why when people say it's like this for Final Fantasy XIV, it's more of just defining like it's about this game and not other types of games. I think what it is like when you get into fights, it's not even about one person being right. Like I've had my fair share of disagreements with people, and I feel like I was right, but then I try to understand their perspective too. And like whenever you try and put yourself in their shoes, you can see how they feel and try to understand like what's right on their end. So we're going to this story, how the OP felt. Like I could understand the OP was getting frustrated that he was putting in so much work towards the FC, and to me, like it's not written on paper or anything, but it did sound like possibly, what if he had a crush on the girl? What if? I don't know. Maybe he really was just friends with her and he really cared about her as a friend. But what if he liked her a little bit? Because when you start watching shows together on Discord one-on-one, and you're like, oh my god, the boyfriend's coming in and stuff like that. Like, to me, that sounds like it was quite close. That's very close. Almost like, did it ever cross that line at some point where it's like, you care about that person so much already that their boyfriend is irritating you, and you even tell them, I hate your boyfriend. And it's like, think about your friend's perspective that you care about. If you tell your friend that you hate their boyfriend, they're gonna be upset. Either one, they'll be like, wow, I can't believe my friend said that. Or like, it sounded like maybe the guy likes her and that's why he hates the boyfriend so much. Like, I'm just telling you guys, that's a girl's perspective. Whenever a guy friend would tell a girl that they hate their boyfriend, to a girl, it is going to sound like that maybe the guy friend likes the girl. It's hard for a guy friend to warn a girl that he's friends with if the guy is bad for her or he just is straight up jealous because he doesn't like the guy. Like, it's hard to really... Yeah, so Nyx's perspective is, I bet she felt really sad that the person she hung out with so much, which is that guy, the OP, was just telling her that he doesn't really like Val at all, and he only puts up with him because that's her boyfriend. So that already sounds like harsh as hell, like hearing that on Nyx's end. It sounded like, based off what the OP said, that Nyx and Val didn't have a lot of things in common, but I don't really know. It's just, I'm just trying to read through the story, but like maybe they did have something else in common, but like outside of the video games, whereas Nyx and the OP had common ground with the video game Final Fantasy XIV. Every time two people are together, there has to be a reason, right? You don't just get with someone just to have a boyfriend or just to have a girlfriend. You have to like something about them. So Nyx obviously likes something about Val. Near the end of the story, it sounded like a little bit of bullying, maybe, and harassment on social media, which is sad that happened. It sounded like one or the other. Like, I don't know which side. It's like they're not letting it go. If they're fighting, they need to really, really have that break from each other. But it seems like they kept coming back into each other's lives and just still fighting. It was hard. It was hard to listen to, that it kept going and going. A lot of unspoken issues. Yeah, whenever it's issues like that, it's like, it's one of those things where you have to be there, and it's more of like, that drama is between those two people and that's it. It's hard to be the judge of that. And then everyone else obviously is trying to be neutral, but if the OP says like that they picked a side, obviously like it's gonna seem sucky for the OP if he feels like other people are choosing that side. I'm trying to guess what Nyx said, honestly. I bet Nyx told everyone in the FC that her friend liked her. That's what I think, at least. Because, like, on paper, it just seems like that, right? It's like, oh, he got jealous and angry at me, hates Val. People in the FC are just gonna jump to the assumption that, oh, OP must have liked you then. If he doesn't like Val, he must have liked you. I think that's how it went down. Maybe he felt gaslit, but he could have been flirting with her without realizing it. Okay, here's the thing. If you hang out a lot, you do start to get feelings. So maybe they did hang out way too much to the point that even though they were friends, maybe it grew into something more. We can only go off the story and as third party members. That's the fun part, trying to like dissect the story. I think what the OP said to Val was pretty harsh. When he got mad at Val and said, like, you're a 28-year-old who can't look after himself.
You're a virgin who can't drive. Oh, that was way harsh, Ty.
It just felt like that went way personal and like an attack on Val. And honestly, it didn't sound like Val did anything really bad. Like, he was just kind of there. And his presence was just annoying the OP. And he popped off on Val. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about this Final Fantasy XIV drama story. If you have any of your own drama stories that you'd like me to share and read out anonymously, feel free to reach out to my Discord, discord.gg/Pathra.